right now on The Upside.
You make me happy when skies are gray.
We'll meet the woman who just may have the best job in America and how it's helping save little lives.
Plus, Not Your Father's Band Camp, how these kids are spreading the joy of music with just the touch of an iPad.
The Upside, spinning a show full of good news your way right now. Let's go.
It's time to look up,
Let's talk about this.
That's a great idea.
to enjoy stories showing the brighter side of life,
A catalyst for growth.
Well, you don't see that every day.
showing good people doing great things,
This is my purpose.
turning troubles into triumphs.
What a creative solution.
Everyday heroes rising up to inspire hope. Right now on The Upside.
Take a look at what we spotted for you. These rare Amur leopard cubs are making their on-camera debut from the Pittsburgh Zoo. The pair needs names, though, so the zoo's holding a contest. A $5 donation gets you the chance at naming these beautiful twins, and we have a link to the zoo's website for you up on our Facebook page.
All right.
Any ideas?
You have Pittsburgh roots, so real quick, twins names. Twins names.
Black and gold.
There you go.
No, or as Wiz Khalifa would say, it black and yellow. Either way, we love Wiz. He's from Pittsburgh. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like it's got to be something like that.
See, you answered a Pittsburgh question with a Pittsburgh answer. You are on point.
It
Well
was
done.
very Pittsburgh
Well
of me.
done,
I
my
know.
friend. Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, whatever time you're watching us. We begin, as always, with the stories from the very top of our feed on this, what are we, Tuesday?
Yeah, it is
It is
Tuesday.
Tuesday. There we go.
Not Friday,
Where's the
sorry.
coffee? We start with an unexpected gift from military wife, pregnant with the couple's very first child.
Yes, Brianne Lindholm's Marine husband is stationed in Japan and his phone broke, so communicating for them has been nearly impossible. Brianne shared the story with one of her customers while she was waitressing at a Utah restaurant. She came back to collect the check and she got quite the shock with an $800 tip, enough for her husband to replace his phone.
When I finally got back over there to go clean my tables and pick up the check, I looked at it and I didn't know whether or not I wanted to cry. I went home and I was in tears.
Look at that, a big tip. Oh man, you talk about the
generous.
capacity for people to be generous. That is amazing. That she didn't even get his name or even a look at him. But maybe this story will help find him and he'll know what a remarkable and beneficial thing he did. Small things like that. Just the phone, be able to talk, makes a huge difference in her life. That's amazing.
And that's such an expensive thing to replace, and it seems to always happen at the most inconvenient times. It's something you really have to plan for, to budget for, and thankfully she doesn't have to think about any of that now because somebody was so generous and selfless to say, look, I got this. You need to be talking to your husband who's serving our country.
Absolutely. It kind of reminds me of those Secret Santa stories you see around the holidays. Someone will just walk into a store and say, here's $100 out of the blue. Here's $100 for you, or we'll pay the bill behind you, and you can just see the difference it makes on the person's face. So beautiful, good way to start.
Sure is. And now we want to take a minute to honor all of you great teachers out there, the ones who've made a difference in your lives and in our lives as well.
Today is National Teacher Appreciation Day. The tradition was started by First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt back in 1953 as a way simply to honor the nation's educators. And now there are more than 4 million teachers enlightening the kids of the U.S. And on average, a teacher will impact more than 3,000 students throughout a career. Think about that. See? And I bet everyone, no matter where you went, where you grew up, what kind of school, whatever, I bet you can name a favorite teacher or two every time.
You're right. They stick with you, and you think about them when certain things come up in life. It's true. They really make a difference and help shape the person that you become.
Any names for you?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Mrs. Nerzik was my first favorite teacher. And every time I see her or talk to her, I remind her of that. And she was the favorite for both of my brothers, too.
Oh, wow.
Which really says a lot. My mother will always say that to her whenever she sees her, you were all of my kids' favorite. So
wow.
She was tremendous.
3
How about
times
you?
in the
Yeah.
favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Mrs. Wolfson, 2nd grade, incredible teacher. Mrs. Sundin, 3rd grade. And Mr. Wydell, Mr. Sharon High School English teachers. just good people and good classes, and you just tell the ones that love what they do and you know, really engage you. So yes.
We love you, teachers out there. Keep making our world go round.
Amen to that.
Oh my gosh, well, have you heard? Some rock fans are crying a little bit today and feeling that sweet emotion of nostalgia for the amazing and sometimes crazy Hall of Fame group Aerosmith. The band announcing they won't be living on the edge any longer, but you have a chance to walk this way to a stadium near you for their farewell tour, because you don't want to miss a thing. The band will get back in the saddle on September 2nd. Fans with a dream on their list to see them in their hometown of Boston will get that chance on the final date, New Year's Eve, for a show that will not be the same old song and dance.
Can we just give a little props to the writers on that one, because that was
Joe Inderhees, our producer.
10 songs in
Wow.
one story intro. That well done, sir. That is impressive. That is impressive.
I have to say, I was complimenting Joe's writing to some of my Court TV network colleagues, saying, you know, I've read a lot of fun scripts over the years on different television shows. That might have been the most creative script I've ever read on television.
He nailed it. And I'm guessing he's a fan.
I think so.
Gotta be, 'cause he
I
was
think a little bit. He
inspired
must
by that.
like them a little bit, yeah.
And they are a great band. I mean, if there ever was someone a front man for a band, Steven Tyler is like the quintessential front man. 50 years, and I bet they will sell out every tour date because people want one last glimpse of that band. 50 years together, and that long list of hits, and that's just scratching the surface.
Yes, and people all recognize those. Even if you're not a diehard Aerosmith fan, you know the hits. I mean, you could hear them in your head, I'm sure. It's like, I was reading them and you were counting them. That band, I mean, they deserve mad props. They are iconic and legendary, and certainly going to be missed when they stop touring.
Absolutely. Oh, it's going to be an incredible tour. All right. Now, time to bring you a few quick stories that are just fun to know, a little candy for your brain. So here we go. And we look forward to one of the biggest parties of the year, all centered on a 2-minute event.
We are talking about the Kentucky Derby, of course. The draw for the most exciting 2 minutes in sports just set the 20-horse field for Saturday's race.
Oh, quintessential event. Never been, gotta get there. Been to Louisville, but have not been there. Okay, fun to know, the Derby is the longest running sporting event in the U.S. Think about that, longest running. First race, May 17th, 1875. 15 horses ran in it in front of 10,000 fans that day. This year, more than 150,000 people will cram there into the legendary Churchill Downs.
And we know they're going to be wearing lots of fancy hats. That tradition goes back to the 1960s, because around that time, the race and the spectators began to be televised. So people started wearing fancier clothing. The hats got more and more extra to try to get some attention.
People make a big deal of all those fascinators in England. They have nothing on the Derby crowd. They have nothing on the Derby crowd. Look at that. Are you kidding me? Now, most of those folks, as we all know, will be sipping on the official drink of the Derby, and it is delicious. I can vouch for that part. The mint julep. Oh, yeah. Also fun to know, the track brings in more than 1,000 pounds of fresh mint to meet the demand for all those thirsty race fans. Look at that hat. With the, well done. More than 120,000 of those cocktails are expected to be served. That's why everyone's having such a good time. The race is 2 minutes. The drinks go on all day.
Oh my gosh, yes. And how about like Derby parties, even if you're not there? I've had people eat those.
This is one of those things.
Reason to celebrate.
And have a mint julep.
Have a mint julep,
exactly.
Get dressed up, wear your hat, or the hat with the mint julep, as we saw. That was pretty cool.
Got to get there one day. We should do the show from there next year.
Oh, yes.
See if it's in the budget.
Great idea, my friend. Oh, my gosh. Well, stay with us. Coming up after this break, see the special kind of therapy that's helping families get their newborns healthy.
Getting them to a state of rest and sleep. That is probably one of my favorite things, and it feels like a special gift I have.